Hello everyone. Today's session is based on the interview questions for the Git and GitHub. So we will see the interview questions that are asked normally in the interviews of the Git and GitHub. So it will be helpful for you for giving the interviews. So the first question is, what is Git? So the Git is a version control system for tracking the changes in computer files, and it is used to help the coordinate work among the several people in a project while tracking progress over the time. In other words, it's a tool that facilitates the source code management in software development. Git favors both programmers and non-technical users by keeping track of their project files. It enables the multiple users to work together and handles their project efficiently. So normally the Git, it is used as a version control system for the computer files. Now it is a symbol for Git. What do you understand by the term version control system? That is the VCS. So it's a system that records all the changes made to the files or set of data. So the specific version may be called later if needed. This helps ensures that all the team members are working on the latest version of the file. So version control system is it's dealing with the versions of the systems, means whatever the changes are done into the files. For example, repository, working copy, workstation 1, workstation 2, workstation 3. So the first workstation, if they want to change the version of files, they want to do some changes into the files, they can give the they can take the update from the repositories and store it back. Same for workstation 2, workstation 3. On the repository, the files or the projects are stored. Workstations means the systems that are using that repository for accessing the files. So update means workstation is taking update from that repository. And commit means after doing the changes into that files, again the workstations are going to store that file on the repository. It is nothing but commit. Now, what is the difference between Git and GitHub? So Git, it is a version control system for tracking the changes into the files. The main point of the Git is to manage the projects or set of them when changes are made over the time. It helps to track the progress over the time and coordinate work among several people on a project. The GitHub is a Git repository hosting service. So Git, it is a version control system where all the files are stored, and GitHub, it is a Git repository for giving the services that provides a web-based graphical interface. GitHub helps every team member to work together and on the project from anywhere, making collaborations very easy. Next question, what is Git repository? So Git repository refers to a place where all the Git files are stored. So repository, it's nothing but a database. These files can either be stored on the local repository or on the remote repository. For example, .git. So .git, it is nothing but the Git repository. Now it is on the local directory. How can you initialize the repository in Git? If you want to initialize an empty repository to a directory Git, you need to enter the command git init on the command line. After this command, a hidden .git folder will create inside your folder. So whenever we want to deploy our project on the GitHub, that time we have to first run the command git init so that the Git repository is created inside our folder. Name the few Git commands with their functions. So the first command is git config. So this command is used to configure the username and email addresses. Git add one or more files to the storage staging area. Git diff. It is used to view the changes made to the file. Git init to initialize the empty Git repository. Git commit all the changes to head but not to the repository, not to the remote repository. What are the advantages of Git? It is faster release cycle. It is easy team collab. It provides the easy team collaborations, widespread acceptance. It is widely used. Maintain the integrity of the source code. Integrity of source code means whatever the changes are made into the source code that can be reflected on the Git repository. So your source code on remote directory and source code on local directory should be same. That is nothing but the maintaining integrity. Pull request for sending the request. So for example, these are the client. They are using their local Git repository, and here the remote Git repository is there. So all the local Git repositories are stored on the remote Git repository, so that the Git is created. So repository created by the first client, if it is stored on the remote Git repository, it can be used by the another two client also. The local directories are accessible to that client only. We have created it, but remote directory, it can be accessed by any client which is connected on the net. What language is used in Git? Git is fast and reliable version control system, and the language that makes this possible is C. Using C language reduces the overhead of runtimes, which are common in high-level languages. Next question, what is commit message and how is the commit command is executed? The commit command is executed in a Git project to record the progress in the local repository. The commit command is executed only after the files that to be committed have been added to the staging area using the git add command. The command that makes it possible to write the commit command is git commit -m initial commit. Name some of the popular Git hosting repositories: GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket, Beanstalk, Fogbudge, Surrounding SCM, Buddy. Now some questions for the intermediate persons. Intermediate Git interview questions. Previously questions was for the freshers. Now these questions are asked to the intermediate peoples who are having some experience on Git. Explain the git push command. The git push command is used to push the content in a local directory to a remote directory. After local repository has been modified, a push is executed, share the modification with the remote team members. For example, project, it is added using the commit command, and after commit command, it is pushed on the GitHub. And whenever the user want to access that repository using pull command, they can fetch that repositories. Difference between git fetch and git pull. Git fetches only download the new data from the remote repositories. It does not integrate any of these new data into your working files. But git pull, it updates the current head branch with the latest changes from the remote server. Next difference, can be done anytime to update the remote tracking branches. For example, command git fetch origin, git fetch -all. But git pull command, it is download the new data and integrate it with the current working files, tries to merge the remote changes with your local ones. Command is git pull origin master. Next question, what is a merge conflict in Git? A merge conflict is an event that takes place when the Git is unable to resolve the differences in code between the two commits automatically. Git is able to automatically merge the changes only if the commits are on the different lines or the branches. The user is running the push command to upload and pull command to fetch. Now, this user cannot push, but it can pull. How do you resolve the merge conflict? To resolve the merge conflict in Git, following are the steps. The first step, the most simple way to resolve the conflicted files is to open it and make the required changes. After editing the files, we can use the git add command to stage the new merged content. The final steps to create the new commit with the help of the git commit command. Git will create a new merge commit to finalize the merge. So the git merge conflict means, first of all, open that files which are conflicted. then edit that files. After that, using the new commit command, you can add that files. What is the process to revert a commit that has already been pushed and made public? There are two processes through which you can revert a commit, remote or fix the bad file in a new commit and push it to the remote repository. Commit it to the remote repository using git commit -m commit message. Create a new commit to undo all the changes that were made in the bad commit. Then use the command git revert. So git commit command is used to remove and fix the bad files with the new commit, and git revert is used to undo all the changes that are made because of the bad commit. How is there the repository different from the standard way of initializing the Git repository? So using standard way, you create a working directory with the git init command, but using the bare way does not contain any working or the checked out a copy of source files. Second difference is .git subfolder is created with all the git related changes history, and in bare, the bare repository store the git revision history in the root folder of your repository instead of the .git subfolder. What is git dash? Let us say if you are the developer and you want to switch the branches to work on the something else, then the issue is you don't want to make the commit is uncompleted work. So you just want to get back to this point later. So the solution is git stash. Git stash takes your modified tracked files and saves it on the stack of unfinished change that you can apply at any time. So go back to the work, you can use the stash pop. Next question. What does the git reset, mixed and git merge abort commands do? Git reset -- mixed and git merge -- abort. Git reset -- mixed. This command is used to undo the changes made in the working directory and the staging directory. And git merge -- abort. This helps to stop the merge process and return back to the state before the merging began. Next, what do you find? A list of files that has been changed in a particular commit. The command to get the list of files that has been changed in a particular commit is get diff -tree --r. The --r flag allows the command to list the individual files. Commit hash lists all the files that were changed or added to the command. Questions that are asked, advanced Git interview questions. Explain the difference between merge can enter a conflicted stage. So there are the two stages when the merge can enter into the conflicted stage. Starting the merge process. If there are the changes in the working directory on the stage area in the current project, the merge will fail to start. In this case, the conflict happens due to the pending changes that need to be stabilized using the different git commands. During the merge process, the failure during the merge process indicates that there's a conflict between the local branch and the branch being merged. In this case, Git resolves as much as possible, but something have to be fixed manually in the conflicted file. Now, what is the difference between fork, branch, and clone? So fork means the fork is the process when a copy of the repository is made. It's usually experimentation in the project without affecting the original project. They are used to advise the changes or take, and it's the inspiration from the someone else project. Branch, the Git branches refers to individual project within the Git repository. If there are several branches in a repository, then each branch can have entirely the different files and folders. Git clone, it refers to creating the clone on the copy of existing Git repository in a new directory. Cloning automatically creates a connection that points back to the original repository, which makes it very easy to interact with the central repository. So the fork means it is the copy of the repository which is already created. Git branch means it is itself a Git repository. It is an individual project's Git repository, and clone is also the duplicate copy of the repository. What is difference between Git merge and Git rebase? To incorporate the new commit into your feature branch, you use the merge feature master. It creates an extra merge commit every time you need to incorporate the changes. Pollutes your features branch history. As an alternative to merging, you can replace the feature branch into the master. Incorporates all the new commits in the master branch, then rewrite the project history by creating the brand new commits for each commit in the original branch. Next, what is the command used to fix the broken commit? The command is used git commit minus minus amend. How is the git remote different from the git clone? Git remote enables you to create the view and delete connections to other repositories. It is used to refer to a remote repository or the central repository. Git clone enables you to create a clone or the copy of the target repository. It is used to target a different already existing repository. What is git stash drop? A git stash drop command, it is used to remove the particular stash. If there's a stash you are no longer using, or you want to remove a specific item of stash from the list, you can use the stash command. Next question, if you recover a delete branch, what work is restored? Files that were stashed or the saved in the stash index can be recovered. The files were untracked will be lost. That's why it's a good idea to state and commit your work or the stash name. How can you discover if a branch has already been merged or not? So using the command git branch minus merge or git branch minus no merge. Minus merge, it gives a list of branches that have been merged into the current branch, and git branch minus no merge, it gives you the list of branches that have not been merged. What is the git cherry pick? The command git cherry pick enables you to pick up the commands from the branch within the repository, apply it to the another branch. This command is used to undo the changes when any command is accidentally made to the wrong branch. Then you can switch to the correct branch and use this command to cherry pick. What is Git? Git is a distributed version control system and source code management system with an emphasis to handle the small and large projects with the speed of efficiency. What is the repository in the Git? The repository is nothing but a directory. Its name is .git, where the Git keeps all its metadata and for the repository. What is the command you can use to write the commit message? So the command is git commit minus a. What is the difference between Git and SVN? So Git is less preferred for handling the extremely large files or frequently changing binary files, while SVN can handle the multiple projects stored in the same directory. So the SVN can handle the large files. Git does not support to the commit across the multiple branches or the tags, but Subversion, that is the SVN, it allows the creation of folders at any locations in the repository layout. Git unchangeable, while the Subversion allows the committers to tag as a branch and create the multiple versions under the tag root. What are the advantages of Git? Data redundancy, high availability, only one .git directory, superior disk utilization, network performance, collaboration friendly. Any sort of project can use the Git. What language is used in Git? C language. What is the function of Git push? And in Git push update the remote refers along with the associated objects. Why the Git is better than the Subversion? Because Git is open source version control system. It allows you to run the versions of the project which shows the changes that were made to the code over time. Also, it allows you to keep the backtrack if necessary and undo those changes multiple developers can check out and upload the changes, and each change can be then attributed to a specific developer. What is the staging area or the index in Git? Before completing the commit, it can be formatted and reviewed in the intermediate area that is called as the staging area. What is Git stash? A Git stash takes the current state of the working directory and index, and it puts it on the stack for a later and gives you back the clean and working directory. So in case if you are in the middle of the something and need to jump over the other jobs, and at the same time you don't want to lose your current edits, then you can use the Git stash. What is the Git stash drop? Whenever you are done with the stash item or when to the remove it from the list, run the git stash drop command. How will you know the git is branch has been already the merged into the masters? Git branch merge the list the branches that have been merged into the current branch, and git branch no merged list the branches that have not been merged. What is the function of git clone? The git clone command creates the copy of existing git repository. To get the copy of the central repository, cloning is the most common way we used by the programmers. What is the function of git config? Git config command is convenient way to get configuration options for your git installations. Behaviors of the repository, user info, preferences, etc. can be defined through this command. What does the Git commit object contain? A set of files representing the state of projects at a given point of time. References to the parent object. How can you create a repository in a Git? So the command is .git in Git to create the repository, create a directory for the projects if it does not exist, and then run the command git init. By running this command, the Git repository or the directory will be created in the project directory. The directory does not need to be empty. What is head in Git and how many heads can be created in the repository? A head is simply a reference to a commit object in every repository. There is a default head referred as a master. A repository can contain any number of heads. What is the purpose of branching in Git? The purpose of branching in Git is that you can create your own branch and jump between these branches. It will allow you to go to from your previous work, keeping your recent work intact. What is the common branching pattern in Git? The common way of creating the branch in Git is to maintain one as main. The branch and create another branch to implement the new features. This pattern is particularly useful when there are multiple developers working on a single project. How can you bring the new feature in the main branch? Using the git merge and git pull command. How can the conflict in Git is resolved? So to resolve the conflict in Git, edit the files to fix the conflicting changes and then add the resolved files by running the git add. After that, commit to repair the merge, run the git commit command. So first of all, run the git add command, then run the git commit command. What is the command that is used? Once the developer branch is merged into the main branch, you don't need development branch. To delete the branch, use the command git branch -d head. What is another option of merging in Git? Rebashing. What is the syntax of rebashing in Git? Git rebase in square brackets new commit. What is the difference between Git remote and Git clone? So Git remote is nothing but the repository available on the remote local directory, and Git clone is copy of the repositories. Mention some of the best graphical Git client for the Linux. Git G, Git Cola, Giggle, Git GI. What is subgit? Why to use the subgit? Subgit is the tool for the smooth, stress-free SVN to Git migrations. Subgit is a solution for a company-wide migrations from SVN to Git. What does the hooks consist of in Git? This directly consists of the shell script which are activated after the running corresponding Git command. Name the few Git repository hosting services. Pika Code, Visual Studio Online, GitHub, Git Enterprise, SourceForge.net. Okay, thank you so much.